It feels like the most innocent part of your day. You step into the shower, the steam rises, and you grab that bright blue bar. You lather up, you scrub, and for a moment, you feel pure. We are taught that squeaky clean is the ultimate goal. That tight feeling on your face after you wash it? That's supposed to be a sign of success. But what if I told you that every time you step into that shower, you are unwittingly stripping away your body's first line of defense? That you are painting your largest organ, the one protecting you from the world, with a cocktail of industrial detergents and endocrine-disrupting compounds? We spend billions trying to fix our skin, trying to calm the redness, the dryness, the breakouts. But the solution isn't in a $50 bottle of moisturizer. And it certainly isn't in that soap. The answer is something you've probably thrown in the trash 1,000 times. It's a forgotten biological hack that costs less than a cup of coffee. And it works by doing the exact opposite of what you've been told. Look at the industry we've built. An endless, shiny loop of bottles, tubes, and serums. It's a $180 billion machine that promises you perfection, but it's built on a very specific and very profitable premise. The premise is this: your skin is flawed. It is dirty. It is an enemy that must be conquered with acids, scrubbed with microbeads, and sanitized with antibacterial agents. And once you've won the war against your own epidermis, you have to pay to repair the damage. But there is a hidden system that modern dermatology has conveniently forgotten. A method that predates the plastic bottle by thousands of years. It's not a new product. It's actually a return to an old biological agreement. You see, the problem isn't that you need to be cleaner. The problem is that you are chemically incompatible with everything in your shower. You are trying to fix a biological engine with industrial parts. Today, I'm going to show you how to break that loop. I'm going to give you a recipe that violates everything the beauty industry tells you. It uses 2 ingredients. One comes from your kitchen, and the other, well, it's something most people throw away. We are going to make a soap that isn't actually a soap at all. It's a biological key. It costs pennies to make, takes 10 minutes to prepare, and it does something that no $100 moisturizer can do. It turns your shower from a chemical assault into a biological repair. Let's dive in. To understand why this matters, you have to understand what soap actually does to you on a biological level. Because the label says moisturizing or gentle, but the chemistry tells a different story. Your skin is not a plastic wrapper. It's a dynamic ecosystem. It's home to trillions of bacteria, a microbiome that acts as your personal immune army. And this army relies on a delicate protective barrier known as the acid mantle. This mantle has a pH of around 5.5, slightly acidic. But most commercial soaps? They are highly alkaline, with a pH of 9 or 10. When you apply that alkaline surfactant to your skin, you are effectively chemically burning your protective shield. You are stripping the lipids, the fats, that hold your skin cells together. And here is the vicious trap. Your body realizes its barrier is destroyed. It panics. It rushes to produce more oil to replace what you just stripped away. So you wash again. You strip again. You dry it out again. But the oil isn't the only thing coming back. Because without that acid mantle, your skin is no longer a shield. It's a sponge. Fragrance, parabens, phthalates, they don't just sit on the surface. Studies suggest they can penetrate directly into your bloodstream within minutes. We are voluntarily applying a chemical cocktail to our largest organ every single day, effectively dismantling our immune system, and paying corporations for the privilege. We think we are hygiene obsessed. But in reality, we are just addicted to the feeling of being stripped. But what if I told you that the industry has been lying to you about what clean actually means? Here is where the mainstream logic completely collapses. We have been conditioned to believe that oil is the enemy. That dirt is a physical substance that must be violently expelled with foaming agents. Look at the solution they sell you. You strip your skin of its natural, biological fats using a detergent. You create an artificial drought. And then, what do? You try to fix a fat deficiency by pouring water and chemicals back onto it. It is biologically absurd. Water does not moisturize skin. Fats moisturize skin. You cannot fix a lipid barrier with a water-based lotion any more than you can fix a leaky roof with a garden hose. This brings us to the contrarian idea. The idea that feels wrong, but is scientifically undeniable. In chemistry, there is a principle, like dissolves like. Your sebum, the oil your skin produces, is a lipid. The dirt and grime on your body are trapped in those lipids. So, what is the most effective way to dissolve lipid-based dirt? It is not a harsh alkaline detergent. It is another lipid. A fat. The industry tells you that putting fat on your skin will clog it, that it will make you dirty. But they are relying on your ignorance of basic biology. Because your skin is already made of fat, and the only way to truly clean a fat-based organ is to feed it what it craves. We don't need to invent a new chemical, we need to remember an old one, and it changes everything. Layer 1. The squeak. We've been trained to interpret that high-pitched friction as clean. But in dermatology, that sound is the audio equivalent of a distress signal. It means 100% of your natural lipids are gone. Your skin is literally squeaking against itself like two pieces of dry rubber. Layer 2. The leaky barrier. Once that lipid mortar is gone, your skin doesn't just lose moisture, it loses its intelligence. Transepidermal water loss spikes. But worse, microscopic allergens and pollutants bypass the front gate. You aren't clean, you are exposed. Layer 3. The plant oil trap. The natural health movement tried to fix this. They said, ditch the chemicals, use plants. Coconut oil, olive oil, shea butter. And while they are better than detergents, they are biologically incompatible. Plant oils have large, bulky molecular structures. They sit on top of the skin. They make you feel greasy, but they don't actually penetrate to repair the barrier where the damage is. Layer 4. Bioidentical physics. If you want to rebuild a human cell wall, you need the exact raw material it's made of. You need a fat composed primarily of stearic and oleic acids. You need a mammal. You need tallow, the rendered fat of cattle. It is structurally nearly identical to human sebum. It doesn't sit on the skin. It merges with it. It fills the cracks instantly. But there is a catch. Fat nourishes, but it doesn't actively clean. We need a catalyst. Something that produces low levels of hydrogen peroxide. Something enzymatic that destroys bad bacteria while feeding the good bacteria. Layer 5. The fusion. When you combine bioidentical mammalian fat with raw, enzymatic honey, you create something that shouldn't exist. A substance that dissolves grime like a detergent, but repairs tissue like a medicine. This is the solution. And it is easier to make than a cup of coffee. The process is almost alarmingly simple. We have been conditioned to believe that effective skincare requires a laboratory, but biology only requires alignment. Step 1. The base. You take 1 part of grass-fed beef tallow. If you're purist, you render it yourself from raw suet, cooking it down until the water evaporates and the pure fat remains. If you value time, you buy it pre-rendered. It costs about $10 for a pound that will last you 6 months. Step 2. The catalyst. For every 3 tablespoons of melted tallow, you add 1 tablespoon of raw, unfiltered honey. It must be raw. Pasteurized honey is dead, it lacks the enzymes we need for this chemical reaction. Step 3. The fusion. You whisk them together off the heat. The honey wants to separate, so you whisk aggressively until it cools slightly and binds. What you are looking at now is not a soap, it is a prebiotic bomb. Step 4. The set. You pour it into a mold and leave it at room temperature. In 20 minutes, it solidifies into a dense, waxy block. Let's put this in perspective. A high-end barrier repair cleanser from Sephora costs $40 and contains a list of synthetic silicones and dimethicones. This block costs 15 cents. And while the commercial product creates a fake plastic film over your skin, this block integrates. When you step into the shower, you don't lather it like a detergent. You hold it against your warm skin, and the tallow, being slightly above melting point, melts exactly where it needs to. The enzymatic honey goes to work breaking down surface grime, while the stearic acid in the tallow immediately plugs the lipid gaps. You step out of the shower. You don't need lotion. You don't need a serum. Your skin is waterproof, balanced, and calm. It is the end of the loop. But if this works so well, why did we ever stop doing it? We did not invent this method, we simply forgot it. And the reason we forgot it is one of the most fascinating sleight-of-hand tricks in modern history. For thousands of years, animal fat was the cornerstone of human hygiene. In ancient Rome, they mixed tallow with ash. In the Middle Ages, apothecaries combined beef fat with beeswax and herbs to treat soldiers' wounds. They didn't have microscopes, but they had observation. They saw that fat sealed a wound and kept it from drying out. And then came the Industrial Revolution. Suddenly, we could mass-produce everything. But there was a problem: animal fat was unpredictable. It went rancid. It smelled. It was hard to standardize for millions of people. So, chemists found a shortcut. They discovered how to derive surfactants from petroleum, sodium lauryl sulfate, synthetic fragrances, preservatives. It was cheap. It lasted forever on a shelf. It lathered beautifully. The soap we know today was born not because it was better for your skin, but because it was better for the supply chain. The great forgetting had begun. We traded biological compatibility for industrial convenience. We were convinced that modern meant better. But here is the irony. Today, modern dermatology is desperately trying to reverse engineer what we lost. If you read the clinical literature on barrier repair, you will see them obsessing over lipids. They are trying to create synthetic ceramides and fatty acids in a lab. They are spending millions of dollars to create a fragile, synthetic imitation of beef fat. They are trying to patent what nature already perfected in the form of a grazing animal. The authority isn't in a laboratory, it's in evolutionary biology. Mammals have been producing this exact lipid profile for millions of years. It is the oldest, most tested skincare ingredient on the planet. So, if the science is sound, and the history is undeniable, why is your bathroom still filled with plastic bottles of colored water? It would be easy to blame a shadowy cabal of executives sitting in a boardroom, plotting how to ruin your skin. But the reality is far more insidious. Because the enemy isn't a person, the enemy is a system. And that system is built on convenience. The first hidden cost is sensory programming. We have been culturally conditioned to believe that clean has a smell, that it should lather into a thick foam, that it should sting just a little bit, because that means it's working. Our tallow block violates every one of these conditioning triggers. It doesn't foam. It smells like fat, not a tropical rainforest. And when you use it, you feel nothing. No sting, no squeak. To a brain addicted to the dopamine hit of artificial lather, feeling nothing feels like not working. But the second, more structural hidden cost, is economic. The modern beauty industry is entirely dependent on a two-step loop. Step 1, sell a product that creates a problem. Step 2, sell the solution to that problem. If you use a cleanser that actually protects your barrier, you never need to buy the $40 moisturizer. If you fix the root cause, the secondary market collapses. A 15-cent block of tallow that lasts 6 months is not just bad for business. It is an existential threat to a model that relies on recurring revenue. And then there is the PR war. Over the last decade, plant-based became the ultimate marketing shield. Brands realized they could sell cheap, poorly absorbing plant oils at a massive markup if they slapped a green leaf on the bottle. Trying to market beef fat, something we associate with a frying pan, as a premium cosmetic? It's a branding nightmare. So, the system doesn't need to ban tallow. It just needs to make you feel weird about using it. It needs you to choose the familiar, brightly colored bottle over the weird, quiet block of fat. The hidden cost of modern soap isn't the $5 you pay at the register. It's the slow, daily surrender of your skin's autonomy to a system that profits from your confusion. Breaking that system doesn't require a revolution. It just requires a habit shift. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want the result, and we want it 10 minutes ago. But biology does not care about your schedule. And this is where most people will fail with this solution. Not because it doesn't work, but because they judge it by the wrong metrics. For the first 3 to 5 days, using this block will feel like a psychological withdrawal. You will step out of the shower and your brain will scream, "You didn't lather. You don't smell like a pine tree. You are not clean." You have been Pavlovian trained to associate chemical irritation with hygiene. Breaking that association is the real work here. You have to re-educate your senses to understand that silence on your skin means health. But if you can hold the line, if you can resist the urge to fix your skin with a bottle of lotion because it feels too simple, something profound happens around day 14. Your microbiome resets. The lipid barrier fully hardens. The chronic inflammation, that unexplainable redness on your cheeks, the rough patches on your elbows, the back acne that never goes away, begins to vanish. Not because you added a chemical to fight it, but because you stopped causing it. The behavior shift isn't just about swapping one soap for another. It is about moving from a reactive lifestyle to a proactive one. You stop being a consumer who buys solutions to self-inflicted problems. You become a maintainer of a biological system. The power isn't in the honey. It isn't in the fat. The power is in the consistency of leaving your skin alone to do what it was designed to do. And when you finally surrender to that logic, you realize the problem was never your skin. Look at the labyrinth we constructed. We convinced ourselves that human skin, an organ that has survived millions of years of ice ages, sun exposure, and dirt, was somehow fundamentally broken. That it needed a 10-step protocol to function. We thought the problem was dirt. Then we thought the problem was aging. Then we thought the problem was a lack of ceramides. We were constantly chasing the symptom, because chasing the symptom is profitable. But the mental shift happens when you realize the problem was never any of those things. The problem was the arrogant assumption that modern chemistry could improve on millions of years of evolutionary design. The solution wasn't hidden in a lab. It was hidden in the structural alignment of mammalian biology. We didn't need to invent a cure. We just needed to stop using the poison. This is the ultimate contrarian truth. Complexity is a marketing tool. Simplicity is the hallmark of truth. When you melt tallow and honey together, you aren't just making soap. You are opting out of an illusion. You are realizing that you were never broken. You were just being starved in a room full of fake food. And the moment you give your body the exact raw material it recognizes, it remembers how to heal itself. The silence of that realization is deafening. There is a quiet power in making something with your own hands. In an era where we outsource every single human need to a corporation, from our food to our entertainment to our very hygiene, there is a subtle starvation happening. We have traded agency for convenience. And in that trade, we lost our connection to the physical world. We stopped understanding what things are, and accepted only what things do. This block of fat and honey is not a magic pill. It is a philosophy. It is a daily, physical reminder that you do not need a billion-dollar industry to maintain your own body. You just need awareness. Because once you see the illusion in your shower, once you realize how simple the solution actually was, you start looking for that illusion everywhere else. In your kitchen, in your news feed, in the things you've been told you must buy to be happy. Simplicity isn't about having less. It is about seeing clearly. And in a world drowning in complexity, clarity is the ultimate luxury. Provide for yourself, even if it's just a bar of soap. The next time you step into your bathroom, the dynamic will be different. You won't be able to unsee what I've just shown you. You will look at that brightly colored bottle of detergent, and you will know exactly what it's doing to your acid mantle. So here is my question to you, a test of your own conditioning. I want you to walk to your shower right now. Pick up whatever you use to clean yourself, flip it over, and count how many ingredients you cannot pronounce. Put that number in the comments below. I want to see how much industrial chemistry we are voluntarily rubbing into our bodies every single day. But more importantly, I am issuing a challenge. I want you to make this block. It costs 15 cents. It takes 10 minutes. You have nothing to lose except a flawed routine. I want you to use it exclusively for 14 days. No soap, no foam, no lotion. Just the fat and the honey. And then, I want you to come back to this video in 2 weeks. Scroll down to the comments and tell me what happened. Tell me if your skin felt naked for the first 3 days. Tell me if the redness disappeared. Tell me if you finally felt what it's like to have a biological barrier that actually works. Most people will watch this, feel a spark of curiosity, and then go back to their bottled detergent tomorrow morning because it's easier, because the habit is too strong. But if you are watching this, you aren't most people. You are here because you know something is off. Prove it to yourself. Make the block. Take back your skin. I'll be reading the comments. I'll see you in 2 weeks.